A little boy warns Millionaire he tried to hurt me. She sets a hidden camera. Jalen sat silently on the leather chair, his little fingers trembling as he clutched the edge of the desk. Tears streaked down his cheeks, leaving glistening trails on his dark skin. He looked too small for the chair, too broken for his age. Victoria Langford, a 36-year-old self-made millionaire, leaned forward in disbelief. Her sapphire blue dress rippled as she knelt beside him, tissue in hand, her voice barely above a whisper. "What did you say, sweetheart?" The boy sniffled. His lip quivered. "He tried to hurt me," he repeated, looking toward the frosted glass door, eyes wide with fear. Victoria turned instinctively. Through the distorted blur of glass, a shadow moved, broad shoulders, white shirt, approaching fast. It was Damian Rhodes, the man who claimed to be Jalen's cousin. He had shown up at Victoria's foundation 2 weeks ago with legal documents and a story. His sister had died in a car accident, and he was now responsible for her only son. Jalen had barely spoken since arriving, but now he was speaking, and what he said changed everything. Victoria rose quickly. "Stay here." She stepped outside, intercepting Damien before he could enter. He looked annoyed. "What's going on? I told him not to bother people." Victoria forced a tight smile. "He's fine, just resting. My assistant needs to speak with you about your file." She gestured down the hallway, signaling one of her guards discreetly. Back in her office, she shut the door, leaned against it, and exhaled sharply. Her mind raced. Jalen had seemed withdrawn before, but she'd assumed it was grief. She never expected fear. She walked back to him and crouched to his level. "Jalen, can you tell me what he did to you?" He looked down. "He makes me stand in the bathroom for hours. No food. Sometimes he throws things." He looked up again, his eyes wide and desperate. "Please don't let him take me back." Victoria's hands clenched. She had dealt with hostile boardrooms, billion-dollar mergers, and global media storms, but nothing prepared her for the ache in her chest at that moment. That night, after arranging a guest room for Jalen in the mansion's east wing, she called her head of security. "I need discreet surveillance set up in the guest house," she said. "Motion activated, audio and night vision. I want everything recorded." "Understood," the man said without hesitation. "Do you suspect abuse?" "I don't want to accuse without proof," she replied coldly. "But if he lays one finger on that child, I want it caught on tape." By midnight, her tech team arrived in silence. A small camera was hidden in the air vent above Jalen's bed. Another was placed behind a bookshelf, angled to cover the entire guest room. Microphones were embedded into the wall near the hallway and bathroom. The setup was clean, undetectable. Victoria didn't sleep that night. She sat in her home office watching the live feed, a mug of untouched tea beside her. On the monitor, she saw Jalen asleep on the bed, curled tightly, holding a teddy bear someone from the staff had given him. Damien paced in the hallway outside, arms crossed, clearly agitated. The next morning, Victoria arranged for Jalen to have a medical checkup under the guise of school health requirements. The results came in by evening: minor bruising, dehydration, and evidence of psychological trauma. Her hands trembled as she held the file, but still, she needed irrefutable proof. That night, she watched again. Just past 2 a.m., she saw Damien enter the guest room and freeze before Jalen's bed. Victoria sat up straight. The camera captured his face, twisted in fury. He began whispering something to the sleeping child, something they couldn't yet hear clearly. Then he slammed his fist on the bedpost hard enough to shake the mattress. Jalen woke with a scream. Victoria jumped to her feet. She picked up her phone and dialed security. "Pull the footage. Wake my lawyer. And keep that man away from Jalen at all costs." The trap had been set, and now she had baited the truth out of hiding. Victoria stood in her study, eyes fixed on the screen as the hidden camera footage played frame by frame. Jalen's tiny body flinched in his sleep as Damien stormed into the room like a looming shadow. "You little liar!" Damien hissed, unaware of the camera behind the bookshelf. "You think these rich people care about you? You're nothing. Just a ticket to a monthly check." Then came the sound that made Victoria's heart stop. A hard thump, a sharp cry from the boy. He hadn't hit him, but he had thrown a cup against the wall, and the terror in Jalen's eyes said enough. Victoria didn't wait. She grabbed her phone again, called her head of security, and within minutes, 2 guards surrounded the guest house. Damien was escorted out as he protested loudly, swearing it was all a misunderstanding. Jalen watched it all from the top of the staircase, silently gripping the banister. When Damien was gone, he finally whispered, "Thank you?" At the police station, Victoria handed over all the footage. The officers were stunned, not only by the abuse, but by the paper trail she uncovered. You see, Jalen had not been placed in Damien's custody through any official family court. Victoria's lawyer discovered Damien had manipulated a private shelter into releasing the child to him by faking custody papers. The boy's real guardianship file had been buried under stacks of outdated paperwork, lost in the system after his parents died in a flood. Jalen's mother had once been a housekeeper at one of Victoria's business properties. Quiet, hard-working. She used to hum a soft melody every time she passed by Victoria's office. A lullaby Victoria remembered but never knew the words to. Jalen was only placed at the foundation's doorstep last month after Damien claimed he could no longer handle the boy's trauma. He hoped Victoria would feel guilty, offer more money, maybe even adopt him and take him off Damien's hands for good. But instead, the boy spoke up, and everything changed. Over the next few weeks, Jalen stayed in a private suite in Victoria's estate while the courts reviewed his case. He remained mostly quiet, but he started to draw pictures of a blue house, a woman with kind eyes, and a garden. One afternoon, Victoria saw him in the sunroom with crayons and paper. "That your mom?" she asked softly. Jalen nodded. "She used to sing. I miss her songs." Victoria knelt beside him and said, "Do you know, she used to sing in the halls of my office when you were still in her belly. I never saw her face, but I heard her voice. It was beautiful." Jalen looked up, a tear running down his cheek. "Then you knew her?" "I didn't know her name," Victoria said, "but I remember her spirit, and maybe that's why you ended up here. Maybe this is where you were always meant to be." 2 months later, the court made its decision. Victoria Langford was granted full foster guardianship of Jalen. She didn't celebrate with champagne or grand parties. She simply took him home, helped him unpack, and sat with him on the floor of his new bedroom, decorated with stars and ships and maps of the world. "Can I call you Mom?" he asked, voice barely audible. Victoria didn't cry often, but in that moment, she did. "Yes, Jalen, you can." Now, a year later, Jalen walks into the foundation with a bright smile. He greets the staff by name, hands out cookies he baked himself, and tugs at Victoria's hand whenever he wants to show her a new drawing. He still has nightmares sometimes, but now he wakes up in a warm bed with someone who runs to his side, not away from it. Victoria, once a woman known for building empires, now knew that the greatest thing she'd ever build was a home. And it all began the moment one little boy looked her in the eye and whispered, "He tried to hurt me." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.